the creators of Fits. Please subscribe, comment, and share with our special guest, Dori.
Hi. How are you?
Oh, I would say well rested today. Today was a day of naps.
Mm-hmm.
And day that I got a package.
So this is one of the pages I sent you from my next book.
Oh, this is the next book. Ooh.
Correct. This is a page of art that is an illustration for one of the poems in my book that I am finishing right now, actually. Because La Premier Tome is done. The only thing I'm really needing to do with the artwork from that book is scan the final pieces, because I'm doing some touch-up painting to them just for fun. Well, some for fun and some for technical, making sure that the pieces I give backers will be up to my standards. So I'm painting some, I'm repainting some, but it's all mostly touch-up work. But the piece I sent you is from my next book. I think it was double bagged. Hi, Sergeant Raul. Nice art on the walls, Dori. Thank you. Yeah, about half of the ones behind me are on my website for sale. There's a few behind me that are not on my website because I need to repair them. I accidentally ruined two or three of my pieces, and so, but almost everything else I have is on my Doris Jones Labor Day. And stay in chat and stick around till 6:45 because we're going to give away a piece of my art on paper, one of my paper pieces.
Okay, so I'm still not looking yet. I know it's from you because it's got your name on it.
I signed it. I remembered to sign it. Yay!
You signed it like right there on the back. I haven't flipped it over yet, so we'll do the
I can't bring myself to sign the front of my artwork yet.
I'm gonna blow me up big, which nobody needs to see, but I'm doing it so we can do a live reveal.
See the art.
I'll see it on the screen.
We'll see what you got. Ooh, hubba hubba.
Booty booty, I see booty.
Booty booty, liked and shared. Thank you. That is she is a piece that she accompanies a poem in my next book called This Is Not Emotional Burlesque, which has a lot of pieces similar to this one, which is, they're intended to be sultry as opposed to explicit, that kind of thing.
Well, this looks better than my face already. So is that the book that Sean is doing some covers for?
Sean is doing the cover for that book.
See, so I already have a piece of art before I even buy a cover of the book.
Oh yeah, that and like I was telling you, Will, like I was because I knew I wanted to send you something, and then I thought it's got to be something that's done because creating it, sketching it, painting it, and then I finished my pieces with that acrylic gloss that it's sprayed with, and she was one of my favorites when I illustrated the book because that book is done. I just need to do the busy work, like the technicality of putting the manuscript together. The only thing I was waiting for to do that was I was waiting for a printer because I got a different printer and scanner and stuff. So that came yesterday. So
yes, I saw the announcement on your page. I was like, nice.
Yeah. So by the time L'amour Désobéi's campaign is done, and basically it should work out perfectly because the campaign has another, I think, 17 or 18 days, and then I'll, of course, do fulfillment. And then once that's off my plate, the next order of business is to finalize This Is Not Emotional Burlesque, which is, luckily, all of the artwork is done and the book is written. So it's mostly for that book. It's a matter of putting together those final finishing touches kind of thing.
Cool.
And that is a book that'll come later. But La Premier Tome is the one that's active right now.
Yes. And let's drop the link in the chat.
And so I don't know, I don't really burlesque cool, right? Well, what's cool is that the book is called This Is Not emotional burlesque, which is a play on words to basically say that the emotional wherewithal or the emotional conveyance of this book is anything but burlesque. It is like as raw emotionally as you can get. It's a narrative poetry collection book. Okay, so it says we have 2 people watching, and I'm assuming, I'm probably one of them because I have it on YouTube, but I'm gonna put Sergeant Raoul in my drawing box. You will go in my box. My box. I said you'll go in my box.
He can't. He's married.
No, well, I really meant my little bunny basket.
In the basket, not in the box. Sarge, don't get too excited.
That didn't sound like Will. My little thing has bunnies, and calling it my bunny basket didn't make it sound any less sexual. Holy crap. All right. Whew. Okay. Donna says not in your box. Haha. Nope. My box is off limits, technically. Okay. So, what next? What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about La Premier Tome?
Nope. We're going to talk about you.
Ooh, okay.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Donna has a box as well. Let's talk about how you discovered art and that's what you wanted to do for the long haul.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I've been doing, a lot of streaming and conversing because I wouldn't have readily had an answer for that. But so when I was 9 years old, my mom left and she left us. She took off. There was 5 of us. And we went to live, my stepdad took us to live with his parents. And my grandpa, the very first Christmas after that, bought me a camera. And it was a cute little 35 millimeter, load camera, the kind that you had to snap the flashes on, And so at 9 years old, where are you from? Originally, born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, raised in outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. I wore my Saints shirt for fun. So my grandpa opened up the art for me. Will that camera was the first artistic way I could leave this world, because as far as I was concerned, the real world was fucked up, and I wanted no part of it. I was a little girl that had had things done to her that no human being should ever suffer, and so it was amazing. It was perfect. I went around and I would fill up roll after roll of film, and my grandpa taught me how to load it and rewind it, and he kept me stocked with my flash bulbs and my film, and he would take me to have it all developed. And so I'd love to tell you I have all of whatever I took as a 9-year-old novice photographer, but I don't think I have any of that. I think I might have some pictures of my family, my brothers and sisters, but that's what started it artistically. And then when I was in biology 2 class in 10th grade, I wrote my first poem that I can remember remember writing it. And I wrote my first poem, and I've been writing poetry ever since, filling notebook after notebook after notebook with poetry. It was another escapism. Art became art for me. My path and journey to art in general was the first part of it was escapism. When I joined the military, I bought a camera, didn't even know about capture and stuff like that. Right. And so, it's grown over the years, and for a long time, I was a foster kid later in life, around 14, 15, went into foster care and turned 18 and aged out as an adult. And they're like, here you go. Now, the state of Louisiana would have paid to send me to college if I had wanted to stay a ward of the state. I was offered a full college trip, like full college ride. I didn't want anything to do with being told what to do anymore. By the time I was out of high school, tough gal. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't want any part of it. Well, like they sat me down and they're like, you know what? you're a ward of the state, and you can go to any, as long as it was a state university. And I had to live in the dorm, and I had to spend weekends and holidays at the group home where I was, because I was in a group home, which I love. It was probably the safest, best, normal 4 or 5 years of my entire youth was when I lived there. Nothing else about my life was normal, ever. No amount of time spent before that was normal. Those years I lived in that place, it's called the McDonald House. It's out in southern Louisiana. I was well taken care of. I was fed, I was clothed, I was clean, and nobody was fucking with me. So I loved every minute of being there, other than the fact that I'm like complete bohemian gypsy type person. I don't want to be locked up. I don't want to be caged in. I didn't want any part of what 4 years of going to, even if it had been paid for college, I didn't want any part of it if it meant I had to act like a child at 18, 19. I didn't want any part of it. So I packed up my little Chevy Citation with everything and anything I owned, and I came to California. And yeah, so art. Oh, going back to art. So I didn't have an option to do art as far as I was concerned. I needed to get a job, and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. And every once in a while I would sketch something, or I'd draw something or something, like I would fill a notebook, or I would paint, or I would all kinds of things. And I would do a painting, like maybe because someone was having a birthday, or an event, and I would go, oh, I should do a painting. It was kind of like one of these, it wasn't really, I wouldn't call it a hobby, but it was something I would do if necessary, kind of thing. And that just went on for years and years. And so, and I have a career, I've had a career in healthcare my whole life. I got my first job in healthcare at 19 when I came to California. Back in the day when you actually walked into an unemployment office and you were handed a job on a 3x5 index card, and you were told to go to this location. Mm-hmm. That's how I got my first job out here. And I've been in healthcare ever since. 32 years in my career. I'm not a clinician, but if it's an admin, corporate level, trainer position, credentialing, compliance, I've edited and written more policies and procedures than you can probably think of.
I can think of way too many from 3 years in rehab hospitals. So
exactly. And I was that admin in the background that was making sure the clinicians and clinical people had what they needed when it came to the admin part of the world. That's my forte. I'm going to make sure you've got what you need to treat the patients. So cool. Stevie Nicks. Haha, you were awesome. I wish I could sing like Stevie. Oh man. So about 6.5 years ago, I'm going to try to make a really long story super short. About 6.5, I think coming up on 7 years ago, I was dating a guy who was a 100% perfect walking, talking example of the Sean Penn character from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was a surfer. He was all about what's up, dude? Everything is cool. He was a super smart guy, but he was not a loud guy. He was not a flamboyant guy. He was super low key. And I sketched him one night while we were watching a movie. I sketched in a piece, and I did a sketch of him, and I show it to him. And he yelled at me. And people yelling is one thing, but when someone who never raises their voice, he's super chill, right? The super, super chill, almost not even talk, for him to raise his voice at me was very stunning. I was blown away. He's like, how dare you not, what are you doing with your art? And then it was all over. He was all over me about my art and and then it was famous last words. I go, I got tons of art. And he goes, where? And I had nothing up. None of it was up. None of it was hanging anywhere. None of it was shown anywhere. It was all in boxes in the closet.
All tucked away.
All tucked away, hidden away. My art and my poetry was like a private diary for me. And so he softened up, and he, you know, so I start showing him all my stuff, and he was, yes, he was a surfer, but he also did custom art pieces on surfboards for either other surfers that wanted they wanted a custom design on their surfboard, or he would do it for, like, there's, you know, we live in San Diego, so some of the restaurants here will actually put up a surfboard as their part of their restaurant's decor. And he was the guy he was one of those guys you could call if you wanted a surfboard painted. Whether it was going to be used or not, you know, that's a whole different story. So I show him all of my art, and one thing leads to another. Hi, Donna. I'm going to put Donna's name in the bunny bucket. Don't go anywhere, Donna, because all of our people in our chat tonight are going to be in the drawing for a free piece of art from me. One of my paper pieces. And so one thing led to another, and I got all the artwork out, Will. I spent, I don't know, like a couple hours cataloging it, or not cataloging it, but I went through my closet. I came out of the closet as an artist. I came out of the closet, and I had 36 unfinished pieces of art in that stuff. Eric is here. Eric, you're going in the bunny bucket. Don't leave, because you got to stick around for the art drawing. So it took about 3 weeks, but I finished every single one of those pieces. Some of those are still, they're in my portfolio. I have a few of those paper pieces still that are pieces from my 20s. They're pieces I did in my 30s. They're pieces that I did done throughout the course of this entire life up until 4.5 years or 6.5 years ago. But I hadn't shown it to anyone, or I would get frustrated and I'd put it away. And since then, in the last 6.5 years since then, I have built the Doris Jones Labors of Love brand, tons of art. I've since, as you can tell, looking at my wall, I transitioned from doing paper art to canvas art. When I got the inspiration to do La Premier Tome, it was the first time I had really sat down to do art on paper again. Like, I had only done art on paper up until, I think I started working on canvas maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So it had been a while since I had done anything on paper. But I sat down to illustrate La Premier Tome. And La Premier Tome, the campaign that you have up for us to talk about later, it was a real simple thing. Pop said to me one day, he goes, "Why don't you illustrate your poetry?" And I was working on the book that you have the artwork from, that piece I sent you, and I was working on that book, and I had these haikus that I had written last year, and famous last words, I say, "Oh, well, I'll illustrate the haikus first because that'll be easy." 20 pages of art later, right? First, I go through and I illustrate. I had 10 haikus. Technically, I had 8 haikus written, but I wanted it to be an even number or something a little more significant. So I wrote 2 more, and I sat down and I illustrated single art pages. So in the book, I'll just throw one up here. So in the book, this is an example of a single page of art. Now, this is a graphically enhanced digital illustrated version of the original artwork. The original artwork of this particular piece is one of the pieces in the book that I have from the book. Hi, Rosetta. So this is an example of what one of the single pages looks like, and it represents this haiku. So, well, that was all I was supposed to do. Like, my head was like, okay, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it for this other book, this other one that I wrote, right? But then I'm a live stream junkie. I'm watching live streams all the time with all of these comic book guys and comic books this and comic books that and stories and panels and I'm a student, man. I might have been a trainer, teacher in my corporate professional world for decades, but when I see or get wind of something new that I want to learn, I'm going to fucking learn it. Excuse my French. And if I don't know how to do it, if I don't know, In this
TVMA. I forget to do that earlier.
My philosophy as a trainer to people I would train is if you don't know how to do something, you need to find someone to teach you. Because, you know, especially if it's going to be a career enhancement type of thing. So I'm following everyone, and I get those 10 pages done. And one night I was sitting here just out of the blue, and I thought to myself, I'm like, you know, the haiku is a perfect poem to do a panel page, like a panel story page. And so I sit down and I took one of the haikus and I created these pages of panels using, you know, they have templates. So I got a template, and let me show you. So this is an example of one of the, so this is a story. It's all hand painted. Everything in this book, the originals are hand drawn, hand sketched, hand inked, and hand painted. This is a panel story where I used the panels to illustrate each line of the haiku. So it's the same haikus in the first part of the book. See, the haikus are in the little squares. But then you get a story visual painted representation of each line. And for my, you know, if we fund and depending on funding, and if the campaign funds, and then depending on stretch goals for that funding, I may be able to add this has 2 sections. It has the single page images with the haikus, and it has the story page images. Depending on funding and what we do with the campaign, I may be able to add a 3rd part to this called Just the Art, where I provide the buyers with an art section where it's simply a visual representation of the art so they can enjoy just the art, because some of us do. I like art. I was never into that type of poetry. Yeah, well, I am one of those people, and this is me talking about me. Never say never. I don't do that. I can't do that. I won't do that. And Will probably can back me up. He follows me. He knows. I'm not just an artist. I'm a poet. I'm a voiceover actress. I'm a stand-up comic. I produce. I edit. You name it, I will do it. I will find a way to fucking do it. It's not okay for me to not know how to do it. And if I can do something, how does it go? How do I say this? I don't want to misquote even myself. If I can figure out how to do it, if I can teach myself how to do it, I will do that before I will pay someone else to do it.
And with YouTube, there's a video out there for just about everything. I just, my gut, my brain, my head, my body, something about being a foster kid and never having a single thing ever handed to me. I've had to work for every dollar I've ever had in my life. I never had a single dollar. I have had people gift me things or gift me, you know, occasionally benevolence. I've had a lot of benevolent help in my life. But when it comes to learning how to do something, I don't know how to do it. Doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. So haikus. So that's kind of why I wrote the haikus. I last year, I had only written my poetry one way my whole life. And I sat there one day, and my oldest son is a poet. He is an absolute phenomenal poet. And he loves, same as me, you know, the apple does not fall off far from the tree. He loves Shakespeare. He loves Poe. He loves Hemingway. He loves, what's the other one? Oh my God, there's another one he loves that I can't think of right now. But my son says to me one day I said, you know, that's kind of a variation of poets that you're talking about. And he's like, well, yeah, Mom, nobody wants to read the same kind of poetry all the time. And that's when my head went, whoa. And so I sat down and I found a workshop online, and it was a haiku workshop that taught you how to do a haiku. It gave you the prompts to do the haikus, and I would write the haikus. Yeah, Shakespeare. Yeah, in the book I'm doing now, the one that William opened a piece of art from, it's not epic poetry, because Poe was very epic. Edgar Allan Poe, a lot of that's your neighborhood. Yeah, that's my neighborhood. It's not raining. Let's go rev the engines.
So it was really mind-blowing, because haikus are not easy. There's nothing easy about them. And yeah, you could write a haiku, you get the 575 down, but is the reader going to know what you're talking about?
With me, probably not. With anybody that follows me, yeah. I don't know what this means, but it has to have something to do with fucking comic books.
Yes, Rosetta, I read it. We're talking about me tonight.
Yeah, this isn't about you.
I know. I'm a brat. I am. She knows I'm kidding. I do. What's really cool about her poem is amazing, by the way. So Edgar Allan Poe was one of my favorites. William Shakespeare, 100%. I knew how to speak Shakespeare. Okay. The poem, right. So I did the haikus, I did this book, and as of right now, I'm working on a sonnet. I've got, I say I'm working on a sonnet, but the truth and reality is I've written like a line of the sonnet. Okay. But that's my goal. So my goal now, oh my God, I've been publishing. I've published 4 books this year. I produced an entire spoken word music album. Not to mention the canvas paintings I've finished. Not to mention the fact that I quit my full-time job and I left healthcare. I put this campaign together. I have been fucking creating like a mad dog this year. 2021, it's like I came out from under a rock. I have been working with customers and clients that I support for admin social media needs. I have some artists out there that I mentor. I have a whole bunch of men and women that I mentor as Diva Dori. And my next Diva book is also written. Will I have a book behind every book ready to go? When I started this year, I was supposed to do This Is Not Emotional Burlesque. And I've done 4 other books. I did like all these other books. And I have the Diva book done and my comedy book done. We have to break what we were and find a new world. 100%. And I'm so easily bored. I can't do the same thing every day. I can't do the same thing over and over and over again. I have no interest in it. Although I will say, I do have a new commission thing in my shop where I am doing art to commission for the first time. That like I've done one other commission piece years ago for a close friend, but I'm in my set. I woke up one day this week, Will, and I had 2 orders waiting in my website. That was a nice. That was a nice when you. I mean, yeah, okay, the money's nice. The money being in my bank account was fucking rad. But then I got to have my consultations with my clients, and then I got to have them, and then I started doing the art, and I'm like, woo, I'm so tickled pink by it. I'm like in the so sweet, like tickled pink way. Too many projects at once, I can totally, yeah. I definitely, I don't let it overwhelm me though. There's 2 lessons I have learned that have gotten me to where I'm at when it comes to my art from what from the girl who had to come out of the closet because she wouldn't show anything to anyone to the woman who's sitting here today. 2 things I will absolutely not force an art piece. If I get to a place with it where I can sense that I'm getting lazy, or I can sense that it's bugging me, or I can sense that I'm annoyed, or anything like that, I will put that fucking piece away. I will hang it on the wall. I have 2 paintings on my wall over there. One of them which has not come down off that wall for at least 2 months. Because I'm not ready to touch him yet. I'm not ready to deal with him again. I'm not. I won't force it. I will not force it. And that is one of the reasons why I have so many variations of creative outlets. And it's amazing that I'm on Creators Outlet talking about this. Will's channel is called Creators Outlet. And for me as a creator, I have to have multiple variations of ways to get it out, because if I don't, I would have already been insane. I would have already been done. Lock me up. Gotta go to bed. Oh, sweetheart, hope you feel better.
Yeah, feel better, Rosetta.
I'll check it later, darling. So yeah, so that's the first thing. I won't force it. And the other thing is that when I am working on a piece, I have learned patience. Because all those pieces that were in my closet, that were sitting there, that weren't finished, that had been untouched and undone, was because I got impatient, and I would put it away, but I wouldn't ever go back to it. And then I guess that's the third thing. Technically, the third thing is I finish it. Yeah, it may take me a month. It may take me 2 months. Takes me 3 months, but I'm not that girl that comes up with an idea and then doesn't do anything with it. That's not me anymore. That used to be me. That used to be me. You know, those people that talk about writing a book, or they talk about publishing a book, or they talk about, that was me at one point. Guilty as charged. Not today. Not today. If I conceive it. What's that movie, Will, with the Kevin Costner with the baseball field? If you build it, they will come.
Field of Dreams. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If I conceive an idea, it may take a week or it may take a month, but I'm going to come through with it. I'm going to come through. It may not be great. It may not win me any fucking awards, but I'm going to do it. So there. Was that a really, like, you asked me one question and then I just, I felt like I ran with it.
30 minutes later.
You knew what you were getting into when you asked me on your show, so.
Yeah. It's going to be a question and a 3-page response, and it was going to go.
Oh, it is, and you know.
That's what we're here for, so.
Is there another question, or I don't want to?
Well, I want to pop the campaign up where there will be more questions.
Yay! Are you going to play the video?
Yes, I'm going to play the video.
Yay!
Shall we begin?
This is not a drill.
Is that your internet or mine?
Let's begin.
Ignore me no more, or forever miss me gone. Stop caring, I will.
Sweet girl, I am, yes. Don't underestimate me. Cut a bitch, I will.
There went Pops one day, suggesting I do something in a whole new way.
Ah.
The Yoda thing cracked me up.
Yeah, so that is, I wrote the haiku with that particular concept. Like, I mean, it came out of nowhere, really, the haiku itself. But I knew when I wrote it, I'm like, this sounds like Yoda. And then having Yoda's voice over it, that came later. Like, I was on Russ Allen. That's Russ Allen. He is the voiceover talent on that particular part of the video. And he was on a live stream, I think, when I was on his show or something, and he said something in Yoda's voice, and I go, oh my God, I need you to give me, if you're willing, I need you to voice that poem, that haiku. So that's his voice doing that particular haiku. That's one of the haikus in the book. All of the haikus in that video are in the book. Even the one about Pops is on the dedication page in the book. So,
very nice.
Yes.
So we have 17 days left. You have
Yes.
a $1,000 flexible goal, 9 backers, and you're sitting at 640, so 64% a goal.
Yep.
So we're past the halfway mark.
Yes, so we've passed the 50% stretch goals that I had in the campaign, and we're almost to the point of unlocking. I believe it's a sticker sheet. I can't remember my own stretch goals, but those are like all the way at the end. So I don't know. Yeah, the stretch goals are all the way at the end. But what I didn't mention yet, and I each volume. So this is volume 1. It'll be a series of these I'm going to do. And this is volume 1. Each volume is going to have 2 editions, a full color premium version similar to what I'm holding, as well as a duplicate second volume that's a coloring book. And so the backer, if someone wants to back the coloring book because maybe they like to color, they can literally sit with the exact same book and they can color the images the way they want. And a lot of my artwork is very intricate and detailed. So there's a lot of detail they can do to coloring it if they want a coloring book. Some of the images may not be suitable for kids because there are a few nudes in the book. I want to say maybe 2 or 3, but most of it would be perfectly fine for a kid to color. So there's 2 editions. They could either get a printed color version or a printed coloring book. Of course, I also have digital tiers if someone wants to get the digital tier or digital color, digital black and white, coloring book, either one, or they can get both digital. Now, if they back any physical backer, if you're a physical backer on this, you get a book, you get art, you get anything I'm going to mail to you or ship to you, you're going to get the digital PDFs anyway. The digital PDFs of both versions or both editions is part of all the physical backing tiers.
Cool. Now the featured tier is the printed book, volume 1, E1. Is that episode 1?
It's edition 1.
Edition 1. So volume 1, edition 1.
Right.
Full color, 24 pages, 10 haikus, 10 illustrations, and also, of course, the digital version thereof.
Correct.
For only $15.
Correct.
So, I mean,
that is correct. Yeah, and I did my research. I did my homework. I know that it's priced very affordably for not only the backer but also for what will be for printing. And depending on funding, if I fund and I know I'm wishful thinking here, but depending on how over I could potentially go, I may be able to add a third portion to the book so that it's more than 24 pages. I can't even really fathom that right now because I would have to be fully funded for that. It may be something I am like today. I think I was on Aria's stream and it came to me that maybe I can add those as a stretch goal.
Yeah.
I think we would probably need to get, in order to afford putting another, because what was suggested to me, Will, was right now the book has 2 parts. It has a part where it has a section of the single page art with the haiku. It has a section of the story panel pages that are done in comic book panel pages style with the haikus. And then it was suggested by a colleague to do a third section called Just the Art, where another 20 page, actually it would be another 20 pages. So technically it would be 40 something, because if I did a section called Just the Art in this book, in order to do that, we're talking about adding 20 pages of art. Although front and back, as you know, because in a comic book, these aren't comic books, but in a book, we've got front and back. So we would be adding, what is that called, Will? It's sides. Yeah. We would be adding 20 sides, 10 pages.
So another 10 pages.
Correct.
So, that's still pretty sizable.
Yes.
Yeah, that would definitely be like, a high-end stretch goal.
Exactly. And that's why, to be honest, I hadn't even really let my brain go there because I was looking at the funding and, I'm good where I'm at. I can totally fulfill what people have backed with what's been backed. that I'm going to do no matter what happens with this. But of course, I'd like it to fund all the way and be able to give everybody everything.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So if you scroll down, most of what you'll see, this is an example of a coloring page. That's one of my favorite pages from the book. This is the one that Pops has the originals.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an example of what a coloring page looks like. So if someone wants the coloring version, whether it's digital or printed, they can just color it. So if you have if you like, this has a few bodies in there. If you notice, there's a woman's body and stuff, but there's nothing explicitly graphic in my book. There is one other nude woman in here, but most of what's in here could be colored by a kid and it would be fine. It's really kind of parental discretion, really.
Yeah. I have no idea how to digitally color anything. My daughter, on the other hand.
Oh yeah, well, and they can do,
but she won't. It's she loves art, and once in a while she'll want to sit down and share something digitally with me. That there's like a web page that she can go to and open up like a temporary kind of like portfolio thing. Mm-hmm. And we'll just doodle. Like she'll draw something and then I'll draw something off of it. And well, you couldn't really you could really call mine the 3-year-old version, because that's afterwards. But
well, my edition 2, which is the coloring book version, it's both printed. Someone can back a printed one, or they can get it digital. And if you get it digital, you can just print it on a copier. You don't have to do it digital coloring. You don't have to color it digitally. Someone could if they wanted to. They could totally, do a digital coloring if they wanted. But no, the coloring book itself is an actual book. It's basically exactly like this. The only difference is it's a coloring book. Different paper as well. The paper obviously inside is not going to be high premium glossy paper. In the coloring book version, the paper is a paper you can color.
Well, I do have crayons.
Crayons, markers, you name it. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm always threatening people. Like, you need a colorist? Because you know somebody? I go, yeah, me. What if you colored? And then I'll whip out a Star Trek coloring book, 1974, that apparently I stole from my friend's little brother because it's got his name on the front cover.
Yeah, well, digital coloring and digital inking and digital anything really is one of the other things I'm studying right now. A lot of what I've done, I've done a lot of basic stuff, but I think it might be the next perk. I can't remember. It might be that very next one. There's a perk in here. Oh, it's after this. So there's digital. There's general support if someone wants to just, support the campaign because they love me. They can do that. There's the coloring book book. That's $14. Nice. It's less expensive paper. It's less expensive. There's only, we're not talking, it's a less expensive book to print. So it's a little cheaper. And then if you scroll, I want to say maybe the next perk. Yeah. It's another give some love. Now that particular give some love support gives people digital copies. So it's kind of a digital tier. But the next one, and this excites me so much, like anyone backing the campaign excites me, but this perk, I have a few backers that back this particular perk, and it excites me so much because it's called the Haiku and Digital Creation. What I do for the backer with this is I create a haiku that is unique for that person and to that person. And even if I don't know them well, trust me, I know what questions to ask to kind of glean some information from someone to write a haiku. So backing that one gives them their own haiku that's written for them by me. So they'll have an original haiku written by me for them. Mm-hmm. And I will also create a digital creation. So I am in the digital world. I'm no fucking expert at digital. Okay, for anyone listening or watching now or later, I'm not a digital expert. However, that picture of that prince that you're looking at is an example of one of the pieces I did. And the exciting thing about digital art that I've learned in working with it is if I apply the fine art avant-garde ideas in my brain, if I apply that to what I'm going to do on digital, I can achieve something very similar. So he's an example of what I would most likely paint. If I were to paint him on paper, or I'm sorry, paint him on canvas, this is where I would have gone with it. And so I've got a few people that have backed that perk. That's what that perk is in particular. They get the haiku just for them. They get the digital creation, and I can't see it because the screen's too small, Will, but I also believe that perk includes an 8x10 glossy print of it. So whatever that digital creation is that I'm going to create for that person, it's only going to exist for them. It's not going to be something that exists. It will never have existed before. It will be unique to the backer, and it's only going to be their image. It doesn't go anywhere except to the backer.
Yeah.
So
an 8x10 high color gloss print of the creation too.
Correct. So similar to how the haiku is on him like that. Now chances are the 8x10 prints that I'm going to do for the backers, I'll let them pick and choose if they want the haiku on the image or not. It doesn't explicitly say that here, but I'm one of those people that's like, hey, are you going to want this on the art? Do you want it off to the side? Do you want me to make it look like I can put it in a text bubble box? I mean, those are kind of things I can work with the backer. So it's not lined up, but the picture on the left is going to come up here shortly in a perk because there's a few sneak peek perks in here for the next book. I wanted to give people a sneak peek, so it's the poster. So that girl with the Mardi Gras mask is called Every Now and Then. She's in the same book from the art you have that I sent you.
Yeah.
She's another piece from that book. And she is another sneak peek of the next book. That's the poetry collection. So I have some posters of her that I threw in here in the campaign to help fund La Premier Tome. Mm-hmm. I put Sweet Girl, that image called Sweet Girl. She's actually in the haiku book. She's called Sweet Girl. She was the one in the, if you remember the Yoda haiku with the Yoda's voice is called Sweet Girl. That's who she's from. She's the singular art image from that poem. And that's a skirt with her image on it. If someone wants a skirt, those are going to become part of, I have a series of skirts on my website, on my shop that are called Goddess. They're the Goddess series. And it's basically female skirts for women with pictures of women on the front like that. They're very colorful. They're very bold. I got the idea from someone who said that a lot of my art was the colors that you could wear any kind of shirt with. It didn't matter what color your shirt was. Because I use so much color. Now she's like maybe, red, yellow, and black or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that haiku on the left is in here as an example of what it would look like to do another digital. That is a digital piece that I did. The haiku itself, she is a warrior unleashing freedom and form with ingenious storm, is a personal haiku I wrote for Christy Shen. And that is a poem about Christy Shen.
We love Christy. Christy just got out of jail. Mm-hmm. Facebook jail. Yeah. Relax, people. Facebook jail. I have been there many, many times. Every time it's a longer stretch.
Yep. Okay, so there's quite a few more perks. There's a sign hand-painted art page. So if someone just wants a page of art, they don't necessarily want any, they don't want to get the book, or they don't feel like getting the book or whatever, they can just get a piece of art. The one after that is the actual original artwork itself of Every Now and Then. So not only do I have those posters in the campaign, but if someone out there wants to buy that artwork, I have her. She's available. I think Then I have some tiers that have everything. Basically, you can get the book. I think it's both editions. Oh my God, I should go look at my own perks again.
So everything signed and ink sketch, original sketch inked includes both digital editions, V1, E1, 2, both printed editions, V1, E1, 2.
Yep.
Original artwork, original sketch inked.
Correct.
Signed by you, randomly selected for $75. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I thought so. And I think the next perk, Will, is basically the same thing. The only difference is that instead of getting an inked sketch, oh no, there is some original artwork in here to help fund the campaign. These are pieces. One is from the next book. Again, Walking After Midnight is from This Is Not Emotional Burlesque. But I did throw that in here because people like original art. Bridges, this one, that is a recreation of one of the panel pieces from the book. So, like we were looking at those 3 different panels of a haiku. So what I did with Bridges is I recreated it on canvas. And that's what that one is. So that particular bridge is a unique, you can tell it's the same bridge by some of the detail, but they're nothing alike. Like they're totally 2 unique art pieces, really.
So the original Bridges was done digitally?
No, I didn't do any. None of my art is digital art. The only artwork that's digital is the haiku creation back. Everything in this book, all of the pages in this book were hand drawn and hand painted. But that particular perk you're looking at right now for $75, that's a canvas painting. For $75. That is a canvas. It's a 12 by 12 square canvas painting.
Nice. I like the colors on it. I like the color composition.
Yeah. What I was saying was that the original is on a panel page from the book. And I remember that book. This is the page I held up earlier. I don't know if you want to see it. So see the bridge down here?
Oh, yeah.
So I took this bridge as a concept and I recreated it on canvas. That's what you're looking at.
So totally.
Yeah, that's what that perk is. It totally different. The only thing that's really similar are the wires and lines and stuff. The next perk is the one I was telling you about that is everything. And the only difference between this one and the other one is that instead of getting an inked sketch page, they get a painted page.
Oh, nice.
They get a hand painted page, similar to the paper page you have. Would be a good example of what my paper art looks like is what you have in that I sent you. The next level, I want to say, if it's the one I'm thinking of. So Tome Do is volume 2. It's going to be volume 2. And that one in particular, I think you might have to click on it so I know I'm talking about the right one.
Perk includes a personalized haiku written by you. Haiku will be illustrated in a singular page art creation, as well as a story panel page, hand-painted. Mm-hmm. Backers receive original sketches, inks, and hand-painted pages. Illustrations will be to Doris conceived inspirations from haiku.
Yes.
And free shipping.
And they get the artwork.
Yes. All the artwork.
And I have to leave. Good night, Donna. Wait, so what time? Oh, we're getting close to, I have 4 names in here. So, I forgot to pull the art. I don't know if she's still there, but, I would assume if you are, I should pull out. So I was going to take a piece of one of the original pages that I have that, at random, it would be randomly selected. So whoever was here, Will, do I have it correct that we had Eric, Rosetta, Donna, and Sergeant Raul?
Yes.
I didn't miss anybody?
Nope.
Okay, so
that's what we had in the chat.
Okay. I'm not even looking. I don't want to look like this is my hand. Like I'm gonna look away. I have no idea what slip I'm going to grab. It says, Sergeant Raoul.
Sarge, want a piece of art?
So contact if Sarge Donna is Sarge and Donna.
There are a couple, yeah.
There are a couple. Yeah. So I'm Doris Jones, Labors of Love. You can literally find me on every social media platform that there is. Doris Jones, Labors of Love at gmail.com. DJ Labors of Love on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You name it. You have a piece of my art. And all I'm going to need from you is shipping details. You can also go sign up on my website if you want, and I can get your personal information that way. But I will send you a paper page of art, finished art, similar to what Will opened at the beginning of the stream. So
I will link you guys off of Facebook because I know Sarge and Donna in real life. So.
Oh, good. Oh, then that's perfect. Excellent. Then yes, as long as I got the contact info, I can send the art. Yay! Thanks for tuning in. So I don't think there's maybe like one more perk or two more perks, Will. I can't remember.
We're going into stretch goals.
I do have there's one more. So that perk that we were just looking at, the one where they get all of the artwork and I write them a haiku and stuff. Yeah. I think there's 5 of those.
Yes, 5 available.
Yeah. I haven't had anyone take me up on it yet, but those 5 people, whoever those backers are, those 5 haikus will be in volume 2.
Oh, cool.
So basically, they don't write the haiku. It's not written by them, and I do the artwork, but they're inspired haikus about them would be in volume 2. And then I have one more perk. I'm still solo layout, by the way.
Oops, I'm sorry.
I'm like, I don't mind being on solo, but anyway, and I think I do have some retail tiers in here. If there's any books,
you get a retail set printed black and white, 10 copies, yep. $120.
Right. Or the color ones, they could get either version. And then there's only one to claim. There's only one available to claim. And what that is that it's similar to the other haikus where the only difference is that the backer gets to write the haiku.
Well,
so not
one person can take you up on this.
Correct. One person for volume 2 can be the writer, the contributing writer, for at least one of the haikus because each volume is going to have 10 haikus in it. I may make that 12. I haven't decided. 10 is a good number because of all of the different pages and artwork that comes out of it. But this particular perk would give someone the opportunity to be in volume 2 as a contributing writer.
Nice.
And of course, I would still do all of the artwork. But I could probably be easily swayed. I'm just saying. And then the full gambit is a crazy amount of stuff I threw in there. I think it's pretty much like all of the above. And
signed, hand-painted page, both digital editions, both printed editions.
Right.
Original painted page signed by you, randomly selected, and an 8x10 unique recreation on canvas using the backer's preferred image from the book, including free shipping in the U.S.
That is correct. So basically, and I this one came to me, Will, because of that one I did called Bridges, right? Yeah. So because there's a lot of images in this book. I've got the 10 singular pages, but then and some of those pages is a simple one person or one pose or whatever. But like the bridge, that was I part of why I wanted to do a conceived artwork on canvas was for my own practice. I don't want to say I can do something for someone unless I've actually done it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and in the picture on the left is the bridge, that blue and black page that you see in that picture there, yeah, that's the bridge at the bottom. And I took that bridge and I recreated it. So whoever backs the full Gambit part 1 would get all of that goodies, all the goodies. But then I will do, is it an 8x10? I don't want to misquote my canvas size.
An 8x10 unique recreation. Yeah.
Correct. I would take whatever one they wanted from it. I would send them the digital book. They would pick a page, pick a piece, pick something from it, and I would make them an 8x10 painting. That's what this backing, that's what that perk is. And I think the Gambit 2, the only difference I want to say of part 2 is that that's a 16x20 canvas, not 8x10.
Yeah, 16x20.
Okay, yeah, I got it right. So same thing. They get the full Gambit of everything, and of course, Olive is gone. Olive is the cover of part 2 of the haiku books. When I do part 2, so this is my cover that I did, and Olive is the book. She's the image I'm going to put on the second volume, and she's sold.
Nice.
And stretch goals. Speaking of stretch goals, as you were saying, I think you were a little higher. Like, yeah, before.
Oh, this is your drawing. I thought it was Shay for a minute.
Nope. That is now Shay collaborated on it with me. She gave me some feedback, and she didn't design it, but her feedback did improve the piece. So the fish is a better fish than what I originally had. The coloring is better than what I originally had. She collaborated on this with me. Now and
then she dressed up as her.
Ha! She did.
She's awesome.
This is, yeah, what you're looking at right here is this is coming on a sheet of stickers. And I believe if you go up to my stretch goals thing, that sheet of stickers is going to be available when I get to 75%.
Yes.
Okay. So right now, as it is right now, backers are going to get a postcard of Sweet Girl and a patch. And then I think it's at 75%. My physical backers will get a sheet of stickers, and then at 100, everyone gets a signed, painted page of art. And then I did a sticker sheet. And then the question.
Oh, a sticker page sheet. So it's
correct.
Like a page of your art as a sticker.
Correct. And I've already started, even though we'll get this, I'm not even at 75% yet, and I've already started creating those stickers. I did one the other night because I kind of want them for myself. Basically, like the Grim Reaper, like I think I even used the Grim Reaper in the sample. He's one of my favorite pieces in this book, and I recreated him the other night as a sticker. Here's the Grim Reaper. I'll show you. Where's he at? Can you see him? See him up here?
Oh yeah. I see the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was looking down at the bottom. I go, wait, is that Mike Jimmy?
Yeah. Like so, the guy he's going to be a sticker. So that was another one. He might be the patch. Shay's designing the patch. But there's a lot of singular images in here that are going to look great as a sticker. And so that's what I'm working on right now. Even though I'm not at that stretch goal, and I haven't reached that stretch goal, I am going to still design them.
But you want to be ready for when you hit it. Exactly. And it puts you out in front of the game because you're all ready to go with it.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to try to be designing stickers just because I funded there, so now I'm going to go design them. No, I'm going to design them ahead of time. So. But yeah, there's quite a few, quite a few things that I'm going to be able to do when we get there.
I'm for screen again.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that question mark one, Will, is probably going to be those, just the art pages that we were talking about. I haven't updated the campaign yet because I'm still kind of stewing over the idea of it. It would be fairly simple to do, and the biggest concern would be the cost to printing the book itself and making sure that I can still do so with that. I'm not raising any prices for people. I'm not doing that. I'm not about to do that. I can say that the book right now that people are going to back in this campaign is going to be better, No, this isn't even a probably. It's going to be better than the book they can get off Amazon. And it's $5 cheaper than what they can get off Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So I can 100% guarantee you that. If I can afford and we can get to a place where I can afford to add a just the art section, that would be rad. I would love it. I would love it. I'd want to have it in my book, in my copy. But I can't really even, we would have to fund to, what is that? I think the next step would be maybe what, 150%?
150 is the sticker page set.
Oh yeah. Okay. So probably, yeah. I mean, probably wouldn't have, I probably might even actually be able to do both that and the stickers at 150. But again, I'd have to get another estimate from the printer.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, if I didn't adjust the art section, we're talking about doubling the size of the book, basically.
Yeah.
Doing adjust the art section, it wouldn't change the color edition, the coloring book edition, because the coloring book, I don't think it would change that edition really.
No,
but yeah,
you leave the coloring book the way it is, but
right,
you would do a special, a special edition, literally.
Literally,
of just the art.
Correct. Yeah, and I mean, and technically, when I first started this whole process, I was going to just, whatever this is going to be when I'm all said and done, I was going to replace what's on Amazon with it. But I don't think I'm not doing that. So I'm holding the Amazon version of this book. That's $20. That's what I'm holding. And this one I'm doing for the campaign, where I've gone through with the artwork, I have hand paint, everything was done. Everything is beautiful in my opinion. Like, this is perfectly fine. I could send this to a backer and I wouldn't lose any sleep over it because it's really that good. It's really that nice. But I did go through some of the artwork, and I have done some more editing on the digital part of these, so that the backers of the campaign are going to get what I'm calling a remastered edition of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Enhanced art in the
yes. Well, because so this is while you've got me. Oh, you have me on. I was going to say while you have me on full screen. So this is an example of a singular page piece of art. This is one of the pages from the book. It's perfectly fine for what I needed in order to scan it and do the digital enhancement and put it in the book. But if I'm going to send this to someone as a piece of art, I'm like, I got more to do. I'm going to do some touch-up work on the colors, because a lot of that stuff I did online. I did it digitally. Now this, I have one. I just did it. So this is come on. This has not been sprayed yet. This is similar to what Pops has, but this is an example of a hand-painted paper page that they're going to get. When any of those perks in the campaign, this is an example of what they get. Now, the only difference is it's going to be shiny because I'm going to spray this with an acrylic gloss.
Yes, kind of like...
And you can show them yours, the one you have. Exactly.
Like this.
Yep.
It's a shiny hiney.
It is a shiny hiney.
See, I can't... poetry-wise, all I can write is dirty limericks. So it's the Irish in me.
Yeah. So I think we talked about everything in there. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Let's double check. We did this.
Yep. And yeah. So, and of course, I do say at the end that if someone can't back it, I get that, man. I get it. I'm the first person that's going to understand if you can't afford to back it, but like, hey, share it out, spread the word, let people know. That is worth its weight in gold, really.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I know you know this. I mean, I've seen you do it for all kinds of creators. And so, yeah, that's really the biggest thing now is we're in the last couple weeks of it. And, yeah, the closer we get to being funded and the whatever there is, I'm not gonna make like name names and say stuff, but I can absolutely confirm that the people who have backed this campaign have already gotten stuff from me that isn't talked about, that I haven't shared. It's not listed in the campaign. They've been, my backers they become, in my mind, in my heart, they become part of my client list, part of my customer list. And if there's one thing I can be generous with, it's my art. I got art. What's, that old thing that said got beef? I'm the girl's like, I got art. I got plenty of it. And what I don't have, I can create. So there.
Yeah.
I added on my website, I think I already told you this. I'm repeating myself. I got a couple commissions for work this week of some things. I have a couple of other things I've done that I don't, not publicly able to discuss. Because some of the commissions on my website that people can pay for are confidential.
Yes.
So, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else unless you have any other burning questions for me.
Burning questions. I have nothing burning. Luckily, that would just be another trip to the doctors for me.
Thank God.
It might mean I would have had some fun this week too, but who knows?
Really well. Really.
Yeah, so that's it.
Otherwise I am gonna have some artwork up for auction for the Red Valkyrie auction that's in September.
Oh, cool.
I do have again, as I said, I have other stuff on my website. There's what I have been funded with now, as of right now, is more than enough to fulfill for the backers that have backed my campaign. And so that I do know, no matter what's going to happen, whether I fund or not, I do know that I will be able to fulfill what has been backed for sure.
Yeah, so everybody that's backed, even if the campaign doesn't fulfill, is
correct.
Everybody's still going to get all their stuff. Correct.
And that was a big reason why I went with some of the ways I set up the perks, why I put in original artwork like I did. Some of the reasons I put stuff in there was because I wanted to make sure that I was able to at least, because technically I could have put 500 as a flexible goal, technically. And because 500 without the patches. I wanted the patches. I want some stickers. I want those little extra stuff. Even for me as a buyer, I would want all that stuff. And so I was trying to think of things that were relatively within my means to do and to have, and also do so without breaking the bank, because it's my first campaign in my entire life. Now, it's not my first publication. I do have 8 other publications on Amazon. If anyone else,
it's your first, crack at crowdfunding and
illustration. This is also the first time there's artwork in all of my poetry books. Every poetry collection book of mine has my art in it. The biggest difference, what makes La Premier Tome special, even for me, is that it's the first book I've done with my poetry and illustrated it to it. And I can't wait until you see, you have the original artwork. This is, even if it's one person, this is what makes my life as an artist worth what I do. You have an original piece of my art. That original piece is illustration that's going to be in the next publication, the one that's called This Is Not Emotional Burlesque, and it's already 100 pages or so. Will, it's basically a poetry narrative novel in a way, really, which is one of the reasons why I wanted a really spot on artist to do the cover. I know I could have done a cover. Sure, I could do my cover. But that's why I went to Sean to do my cover. I'm like, this book is different. This book's unique. It's better than, not better. I don't want to compare. It is the most ambitious thing I've ever done. I love like this haiku. I know we're here to pitch the haiku series, you guys. I know this, but the next poetry book, the one that I'm currently next working on, it is the most ambitious thing I ever did. And illustrating the haiku book made it possible to it really did, because that poetry book's all illustrated. Like that girl I had, the one with the girl on the beach with the wave, she accompanies a poem. There's a poem that goes with that picture. So,
yeah, so I will
it'll
find
be
out when the next book comes out what the poem is
Yes.
that goes with
This
my
is right.
booty.
Exactly. Your booty, your hiney girl.
Yeah, I got all excited when somebody told me they were sending me a woman by mail. I was like,
So
it's a
was I
painting.
right? Was I right that when I told you that the piece I picked for you that you'd like? Was I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you'd like her. She's one of my favorites.
And it's got blue, my favorite color.
Yeah. Most of the time when I'm done with a piece, I kind of love all my art, but once I'm done with a piece, I kind of like, I don't always do the spraying thing right away. I don't always seal them right away because I kind of like let them kind of sit and just in case I'm going to do more stuff to it, you know? But when I finished her, she was one of the ones I had finished all the way through and actually had sprayed it, because when I was done with the painting part of it, I'm like, she's done. Like I want to see her pop off, because when I spray it with the gloss, it deepens the cover, it makes it shiny, and it takes it to a whole different degree. It takes it to a whole different level when I spray them.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I knew, like then I thought, I'm like, what am I going to send Will? And I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm sending Will, because I finished her. And not only that, Will, that's the only one of her that exists. I think I told you, maybe I told you, I would sketch and I would ink and I would paint, right? Well, I stopped doing that. Somewhere in between, I would pencil and I would ink, but I started doing a light box copy to paint, because I didn't want my sketches painted anymore. I didn't want to paint. But she is one that I did straight through. So what you have isn't just a painted page of, and there's no other copy of that.
Oh, nice.
She doesn't exist. Like I do have a scan of her. I scanned her. And I will be, because so of course I've got to be able to put it in my book, right? So I have a scanned version of her, but there's no sketched original somewhere. That is the sketched original that you're holding. And I didn't do that with all of them. Some of the pages, like I said, I've got two versions. I've got the hand, one of the campaign perks in my campaign is for a sketched inked page. And I have someone who backed that because they want that as opposed to a painted page. And I wouldn't have known, I would not have known to do that if I hadn't been following comic book creators. If I hadn't been following the way that some of the comic book guys do their stuff, where they don't paint their originals, I wouldn't have known to do that. I would have just kept painting my originals and not ever had a sketched piece to offer up.
Yeah.
So
now you got both, and
right.
Sometimes on some of these auctions, you can sweeten the pot by, hey, make it go to this,
and you'll get.
I will include the original pencil work.
Exactly. And picking up on and I get it. I get why people would want that, because even though my paintings are, the majority of what I do is tons of color, lots of paint. Even by my own admission, when I went to New York in 2006 and I went to a gallery showing of Gustav Klimt's work, my favorite part, even though they had actual Gustav Klimt paintings in the room, right? And I got to see them. But my favorite part was this little room they had set off to the side, Will, that had all his sketch work. It was all these little pieces of paper, like from these little sketch notes of paper, little pieces of paper all over, not just laying around. Like it was presented, obviously matted and framed and all this jazz. But fuck, I was stunned. And I was like, okay, his paintings are beautiful, and nothing compares to them for me, in my humble opinion. He's my favorite artist. But looking at one of his sketch pieces, holy crap, like that was his original conception or his original idea, or you know what I'm saying? Like so that's kind of part of why I was like, yeah, there's something to this whole saving your sketch thing. I get it. I get why. Yeah.
Especially other artists are going to want to see your line work.
Yep.
And it adds like a totally new dimension to everything that they see on the finished product. Yeah.
One of my, I don't think I got it out, but one of the pieces that's line art is, I think it was that particular piece that at whatever point I started working on that one, it made my head go, oh, I need to stop painting these. I need to stop painting the line art. Mm-hmm. Because even I was sitting there going, I shouldn't paint this. I should not paint this. Yeah, so I get it.
Yeah, I think the other night I kind of threatened to do a homage piece to Size Bulgy the Clown.
Oh my god!
And I was going to add Bulgy's sister to it, and then Side DM'd me with what he would call Bulgy's sister, which I can't say.
Well, I did do. I got this idea. I had so I can't do. I get ideas and then I tell myself, well, that's an idea. It's not. It doesn't exist until I actually do it, right? Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as it's one. If it's in here, that's just a fantasy. So I started doing. When I was on your stream the other night.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so someone had sent me an art box of art supplies. And they had all of these little pads of art paper, different kinds of art paper, mostly watercolor. And so what I've been doing is I've been sketching during live streams. I grab one of the little things and I just start sketching. She's actually one of the images, Will. She's in Le Premier Tome, this girl. She's from Le Premier Tome. And so is this guy. So I guess it's kind of funny. Like I wouldn't have known to do that or thought to do that, but I watch what other people do, and I don't try to copy anybody. I'm not about to copy anybody, but I can definitely, now that I know what a sketch card is. So basically, I have these little miniature fine art paintings that I can give to people as a thank you. I can include in their packets. I can mail it with their, to my backers, whatever. And so now I'm just, as I was saying, is like, I thought of it. I'm like, I need to create something unique so that when my backers get it and they open their package, they're not expecting it, or if it's not part of the thing. And I just started, I got into the habit of grabbing one of those little sketchbooks. And those are the four. And I did 2 of them on your stream the other night. And one of them, the pregnant woman, I recreated her digitally, and I'm going to put it in my next volume of my coloring book. So this La Premier Tome has a coloring edition, but I also have another series of books coming out called You Do You Boo. And it's a series of coloring books, and it's particularly for Diva Daily Living, which is one of my other pages. And so most of what I do artistically going forward is going to probably end up in that, as well as maybe what book I'm illustrating. But I do intend, my goal is to put out my art in coloring books for people. I'm not going to say loads of people or tons of people, but I over the years since I've been doing this now, I get asked that a lot. Do you have a coloring book, or do you have coloring pages? Because they see the intricacy, yep. or they see the color scheme, or they see what I've done, and it is probably one of the most flattering, I think is the word. When someone tells me that my art is making them want to grab colors or markers and color it, that is so flattering. You know what I'm saying? That just, I mean, like, I'm like, whoa, you want, you know, and I love that idea. One of the creators on another show suggested that maybe with either the next campaign that I could put a challenge out there for everyone to paint a page from the haiku book, take a page from the coloring book and go color it. And then we run a contest to see who colored it the best. So I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea, because I have a coloring book. One of the perks in my campaign is a coloring book, and I'm like, how many digital colorists do we know? A ton of them, a shit ton of them. What they would win, I don't know, bragging rights. Who's going to vote on this to see who's the best? I don't know. That's kind of a shit show of ego, if you ask me, which is why I didn't bother with it. But
it'd still be fun to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Yeah. It'd be kind of fun. And I do. Oh, and one other thing, and then you can tell me you can kick me out. I think it was day 3 of my campaign, day 3 on my campaign, I went on Bargain Bin with Dori and the guys, and I have enough haikus right now. I have about, I want to say 8, maybe 9 haikus that were written by that group. That if I wanted, oh yeah, Will, I do. I wrote them all down. I have them all saved. And even Frog G and Michael T, and I've got all these haikus that, well, actually, I don't think Michael T wrote one, but I have one Aria wrote. I have all these haikus, right? And I'm like, I should do a whole haiku edition just for those.
The Bargain Bin haiku.
Yeah, like the whole, like, exactly, 100%. It would be so rad. It'd be so cool. So, but yeah, we should. I need a human break, actually, so I'm gonna have to wind out of here.
We will end this, and I will be downloading this, of course, and it will be uploaded to my podcast platform. So our whole conversation will be available to download on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast from. And while I'm multitasking doing that, I of course will be popping over to Regen on the Red Valkyrie show. So.
Oh yeah, I was in
I guess to show off my art.
I was there and right before coming to your show.
Yeah, I went over there, said hail, and I was just like listening to it, and I finally smartened up, because I would if I was waiting for somebody to show up, I'd be watching like another stream, it was live at the time, and then I'd be getting I'd look up and on my Facebook tab, and it'd be like message from this one or message from this one on Twitter. I go, oh, they're in. So I finally smartened up and added the make a noise when a guest comes into the studio. Okay, that'll work out better, because it'll be like a kick in the side of the head by the mule, and you're like, oh, to work. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely know the feeling, because I've had that happen a few times. Where, well, tonight, I was chit-chatting with the gang in the members time slot, which was great, because I knew that's only for the first half hour, and then I knew I needed to come to your show, so I popped out when it was time to come to you.
So we're going to take off out of here, and I'll be back next week with a whole bunch of more shows. The link for the Indiegogo is in the show notes, up above or down below, depending on where you're watching us. And of course, it's in the chat. So just rewatch if you're rewatching the episode, it's in the chat. If you're listening to this on podcast, it will be in the notes on the podcast.
Yay.
You can watch the actual thing, and then you can see the all the art we were talking about. And
yep. And then when you get me the details for how to get the page of art to Donna and Raul, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Yay.
I'll take care of that between tonight and tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I'll make sure to
Okay.
do it tomorrow.
Nope.
Because he's going to be sorry, Sarge, that I just blow up your spot. Probably not. Everybody knows.
Don't share his private information. Anyway.
Oh, I'm not sharing his private information, but
No, I know. I know.
Yeah.
All right.
So we shall be back, and I'm gonna bounce out of here and it's not downloading, and I'll see everybody over at Regen. If you're not there, head over to check out the Red Valkyrie stream on YouTube, and much like here, please subscribe, comment, and share.
Yay.
And we'll see everybody later. Good night.
Bye.